Hi, this is Tim from fitatmidlife.com. Today we've got the Reebok Nano X, the newest cross trainer from Reebok for the year 2020. We're going to compare it to the Under Armour TriBase Reign 2, which is also new for 2020. Which is the best CrossFit style functional fitness training shoe for you? That's what we're going to talk about, so stick around. Let's start by taking a look at the Reebok Nano X. So this is the 10th version of Reebok's cross-training shoe that is meant to be used for CrossFit and functional fitness style training. Let's start with the outsole. So as you can see, it is very similar to the outsole that was used on the Reebok Nano 9. We've got a flat, all-rubber outsole, maximum contact area with the ground, the gym floor, very grippy, durable rubber as well. Cross trainers usually built like a tank. This shoe is no exception. It does sport a decoupled outsole to reduce the amount of shock that goes from your heel to the forefoot when you're running and doing other impact activities in this shoe. You can also see some further flex grooves up front. Doesn't have a ton of forefoot flexibility, but it certainly bends enough for if you're doing things like jumping rope and things of that nature. Around the other side, we can see that tough outsole wraps up around the side. It's labeled Rope Pro, meant for rope climbing, so you can grip the rope between the outsole wraparound, the rubber protection wrap, and the super tough upper. You won't have any problem with the rope abrading this shoe. The upper, what Reebok has done with the Nano X is they have taken the flex weave, which they have used for several iterations of the shoe, and they've made it even better. So to me, it looks better. It's more aesthetic. It's still very tough. It's still very comfortable because they're using a two-layer setup. You can see my finger through the flex weave here. Underneath is a very pliable, soft, stretchy inner booty to the shoe. So you can see as I pull apart the outer cage that this soft inner part of the shoe is very comfortable, but you still have that tough exterior. And overall, this makes for a very nice form-fitting upper that is quite comfortable. The other thing that's new with this shoe, the tongue is stretchy. It feels a little bit more comfortable than the tongue in the Nano 9. It is different though. It is much less padded. It's very thin in the middle and below this point. There are some bolsters on the side that are heavily padded, but sometimes you will feel a little bit of lace bite down here if you tighten the shoe too much. So you simply have to back off of tightening the shoe. This is regular laces. That's great. They work. You make it tight or less tight. It's up to you. Things stay secure. I'm not a fan of the laceless or the quick lacing systems that some other vendors use on their shoes. I think regular laces are the best thing for a training shoe. The upper looks very nice. I really like what they've done with the styling. I do think it is a better looking shoe than the Nano 9, primarily because of what they've done with the flex weave. They've kept a lot of the cool features of the Nano 9 though, like the rubber protection wrap, and overall the silhouette and the shape of the shoe is very similar to the Nano 9. Heel to toe drop has not been published. It is probably still 4 millimeters as it was in the Nano 9. And the cushioning in the midsole, which is inside the shoe, you can't see it, is fairly minimal, just like the Nano 9. In fact, it feels to almost be the same level of cushioning as the Nano 9. This is a cross trainer. It is not a cushioned running shoe. It is meant for versatility. So the heel is very firm in the outsole, the midsole, and in the very thin drop-in insole, which really doesn't add much cushion of any sort. So what do we want with a very firm, solid heel? Well, this shoe can be used to lift weights, heavy barbell weights specifically, squats, deadlifts, cleans, jerks, snatches. You can do all that sort of lifting in the Nano X. The biggest visual change besides the flex weave upper is the collar. It's much higher. They have this Achilles pad now. It kind of angles away from your foot for comfort. And on the inside, there is a foam padding all the way around the collar, very comfortable. The shoe has gained some weight. It is 14.4 ounces. It's gained almost a full ounce over the Nano 9, so that is for a men's size 11. Overall, I like the Nano X. It feels very similar to the Nano 9, especially the cushioning in the bottom. I do think the upper is more comfortable. It feels like more shoe because you've got all this part hugging your ankle. Feels bulkier, and it is because it is heavier. However, it is comfortable, and overall, I think if you liked the Nano 9, you're going to like the Nano X. Now, let's take a look at the Under Armour TriBase Reign 2. So this is the second version of the TriBase Reign shoe. This came out in January of 2020, and let me say up front, I really like this shoe. So it is a cross trainer. We can see here from the outsole, there's the triangular base that gives the shoe its name. The heel is very firm. This is an all-rubber outsole, so it's tough and durable, very firm. This isn't like soft foam or anything, but you can see there's flex grooves up front, although there's a little bit of flexibility, but not a ton, right? It's largely across that major flex groove there. I don't really know the purpose of this groove that runs along the length rather than the width, but I imagine these are flex grooves as well. So this is pretty much the outsole that was on the original TriBase Reign, which was also a very good shoe. And overall, I like it. It looks good and it works well. High traction, high grip, maximum contact area on the floor, and overall pretty good. Let's look around the center. We've got an area where it wraps up and around. You can see the tough rubber outsole wraps up and around. Gives you a place to grip a rope during a rope climb, but there's not as much protecting the upper from any abrasion with the rope. So this may not be quite as competent as a rope climbing shoe as, say, the Nike Metcon 5 that has an absolutely massive rope wrap in that same midfoot area on the shoe. But that's okay. How many people really climb ropes anyways? That is more of a niche activity even in CrossFit workouts. So let's look then at the upper. So for the TriBase Reign 2, they switched from their perforated heavyweight material to a mesh upper. I like this mesh significantly more than what was on the previous version of the shoe. It is pretty lightweight and breathable, very comfortable. I also like what they have done with the collar area. So there is a fairly dense foam ring here around the collar that feels quite nice. So it's not foam to the same degree as on the Reebok shoe, but still it provides a very good fit. I get no heel slip sensation in this shoe. Fits true to size, men's size 11. This shoe weighs 12.3 ounces for a men's size 11. The heel counter is external. That's tough. TPU plastic, very firm. It is larger than the heel counter that was on the original TriBase 1. We have a pull tab on the heel, easy to take the shoe on and off, and you can see there is sort of a pseudo tongue here, but regular laces that work quite well, and you'll notice these laces down here kind of integrate with a cloth strap that kind of helps hug your foot a little bit better in that area of the shoe. So overall, it is a comfortable shoe. It works well, very firm support in both the heel and the forefoot. So this is not a stellar running shoe. It really shines at lifting weights and things you do in the CrossFit WOD, but it doesn't have very much cushioning whatsoever. But it is a cross trainer, so that's kind of what we expect with this sort of shoe. Heel to toe drop is 2 millimeters. That is, your heel is 2 millimeters higher than your toes. That is the kind of minimal drop that you would expect in a versatile cross trainer shoe. Overall, fit and feel is really good. They're true to size. I enjoy wearing these. I like them. They might be a tad bit on the side of not being quite wide enough. The length is plenty fine. The width is just adequate. If you have wide feet, you might have to go a half size up on the Under Armour TriBase Reign 2. Overall, like this shoe a lot, and I'm looking forward to the TriBase Reign 3, which hopefully will come out next year. Okay, so now let's compare the two shoes side by side. So let's start with the outsole. So all rubber, tough, high grip, good traction, very flat, maximum contact area in both. The TriBase Reign has the TriBase. It has some flex grooves, as does the Nano X. So it's got some flex grooves. It also has a decoupled heel. This split along here is meant to ensure that not as much shock travels from the heel to the rest of the foot on the shoe. How well does it work? It's kind of hard to say. It probably makes a minute difference at best as far as what I can feel anyways. But overall, both are good for lifting weights. Very firm, very stable heel. And they've got some forefoot flexibility, not a ton of that. But overall, you can do the activities of the CrossFit WOD in either of these shoes. Heel to toe drop. We actually don't know what it is for sure on the Reebok because they haven't published a number. I suspect it is the same as the Nano 9, which would be 4 millimeters. The heel to toe drop on the Under Armour TriBase Reign is 2 millimeters, as we've said previously. Could you feel the difference between a 4 millimeter heel to toe drop and a 2 millimeter heel to toe drop? Probably not. But the important point is they're both relatively low profile shoes, which is what we want for a versatile cross trainer. The levels of cushion in both are very, very similar. So the way I test these, I wear one on the right, one on the left. Both are minimal cushion shoes. I call it a draw. Same amount of cushioning for the most part, which is very minimal. The upper, I like the comfort in both. The Reebok shoe, though, I think the upper looks nice. Right, this is flex weave. It's tough. It's double layer, as I mentioned. Hugs your foot, as does this. Very comfortable. But I think the obvious difference you might be able to see here is that the width of the toe box on the Nano X is significantly more than on the TriBase Reign. So, where I said the TriBase Reign 2, if you have wide feet, you might have to go a half size up because it's right on the borderline for me. I'm fine with this size, but if it were any smaller, I would need to go a half size up. Whereas no such problem with this. Your toes can really spread out, and that is one of the features that I continue to really like about the Nano line of shoes. They've been like that for the last couple of iterations. So that is definitely a good thing. Both have laces. Both have kind of a pseudo tongue. This is stretchy. This is less stretchy, yet still very comfortable. Really like the fit and feel of both of these shoes. They actually feel, they don't feel too far off the mark from one another either, right? Because they're minimal cushion with a comfortable hugging upper. Just, you can feel, though, that extra width in the toe box on the Nano X. The padded collar area, actually similar concept on both shoes. There's more collar padding on the Nano X by a long shot, though. Not that makes a difference per se, but it does kind of hug your ankle firmly. Looking from this perspective, you can see the Nano actually looks like it's got a little bit wider of a heel, like a wider base, but because of the firmness of the heel on the TriBase Reign 2, I've never had any problems lifting weights in this shoe, nor the Nano X. The heel counter on the TriBase Reign is external. It's solid TPU, pretty firm. There is something equivalent in the Nano X. It is just inside of the shoe. You don't want your heel cup to deform when you're lifting heavy weights in either shoe, so both are pretty good there. So overall, I think this one's going to come down to the Under Armour TriBase Reign 2 is about $10 cheaper at $120 versus $130 for the Reebok shoe. And I think it's going to come down to which one do you like better, looks better to you, and maybe if you do have wider feet, again, the Nano's probably going to be the winner. So I hope that was helpful. These are both excellent shoes. I enjoy both of them. And if you like this sort of thing, please like and subscribe. We post new shoe reviews regularly. Thank you. Have a good day.